Nearly 3,000 children were forcibly separated from their parents last year under the Trump administration's zero-tolerance immigration policy. Adults entering the country illegally were prosecuted, while the children accompanying them were put into shelters or foster cares. This policy is actually fairly non-controversial. Everyone agrees that this practice is inhumane and can have lasting effects on the children. People from all political backgrounds agree that a new solution needs to be found that won't come at the expense of the children. My art piece represents the hypocrisy of America and the disregard for families. America has always been a place that values and promotes a healthy family life, so it's shocking to me that government officials would put these policies in place. The American flag is being torn at the same time these families are. In the bottom left corner, there are quotes from Shadi Hujar, who writes for Families USA and has a PhD. She cuts the Trump administration some slack by pointing out that it is not the first administration that has called for this policy, but Trump is of course growing this practice. She says there are playrooms of crying preschool-aged children in crisis, which is just a heart-wrenching idea. She also shares some psychological effects which include, in the short term, children may exhibit loss of appetite, difficulty sleeping, regressive behaviors, physical symptoms, such as stomach aches and detachment, all common signs of post-traumatic stress disorder in young children. Overall, she focuses more on the family's well-being instead of bashing Trump and the policies themselves. In the bottom right corner, there are quotes from the article, Locking Up the Children, by Manuel Madrid. This perspective is more focused on the policies themselves. He claims that the ORR, otherwise known as the Office of Refugee Resettlement, its entire mission has been redirected. An office designed to be primarily concerned with the welfare of children is now tasked with balancing these priorities against the interests of law enforcement in a racist and xenophobic administration. He blames Trump by saying that under his administration, the children have stayed detained for longer. He also claims Trump is using fake news to promote his own agenda. There has been no kind of observable surge in gang affiliation among children crossing the border, only the one in Trump's head. He uses that claim to discredit all of Trump's claims. Next, in the top right corner, there are quotes from a Time magazine's YouTube video called Nearly 2,000 Children Have Been Separated from Their Families During Trump's Border Crackdown. This source remains moderately unbiased and just gives coverage about what's happening and how it's affecting people. However, that of course comes across as negative because there's not going to be many miraculous or happy stories when children are being forcibly separated. Anyways, this video claims that the policy doesn't really add up because it's meant to punish the parents while at the same time punishing the children, who are innocent and also bound to be more heavily and negatively affected. It was interesting to me that Time used two big-name conservative quotes to show the pervasive anti-idea of the policy. They used Jeff Sessions, which is the U.S. Attorney General, to explain what has happened and to show the harshness. They also used First Lady Laura Bush, who is both Republican and political, in a quote that says, "I appreciate the need to enforce and protect our international boundaries, but the zero-tolerance policy is cruel, it is immoral, and it breaks my heart." This video also ends by saying that the Homeland Security is just doing their jobs to ensure this country's safety. Overall, Time believes that the policy is inhumane and we need to push for a new policy that won't harm the family union. My perspective is shown in the center, and it is very similar to the last. Something has to be done to ensure that those who come into the country are safe and have good intentions and actually are family, but I don't agree with separating and diminishing the familiar bonds in the process.